Real-life superheroes caught on camera. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? These people displayed heroics when it mattered and even saved a life or two. Superman and Batman should take a back seat and let these real-life superheroes have a chance. Without further ado, here are 10 people that really made a difference and used their instincts and quick reactions to act when it mattered most. At a middle school in Utah, there's a child that showed the true meaning of friendship when his mate started choking. The two were enjoying a meal in the school cafeteria, chatting about what they do after school. But unbeknownst to them, one of them would have a close call that day. Charlie was proposing that Jason come over after school and the two hang out, when suddenly Jason got up and started pacing, furiously scratching at his throat. Charlie immediately recognized his friend was choking and took matters into his own hands. Charlie's mother had taught him the Heimlich maneuver in case he ever had to use it on his younger siblings. Charlie quickly got up and started aiding his friend. In a matter of seconds, he managed to dislodge the food stuck in Jason's mouth, and the two continued their conversation like normal, not acknowledging that Charlie had just saved a life that day. Carl Rauschenberger, an off-duty police officer, decided to do some banking at Key Bank. What he didn't expect to find was the bank was busy being robbed by two men. Carl's training quickly kicked in and he drew his firearm and told the robbers to get down. The robbers complied but then drew weapons on him. The officer returned fire and the robbers fled from the bank. He saved the lives of everyone inside the bank at the time and didn't even ask for as little as a thank you. That's true heroics without expecting anything in return. Mike Dubois went to the gym to stay fit and healthy. He was getting into his later years and didn't want any complications. Unfortunately for Mike, tragedy would strike sooner than he thought. Sam Palacio, a complete stranger, felt the urge to stick around for 15 more minutes after he finished his sessions at this gym. He'd soon find out why. Sam Palacio found that his waiting wasn't for nothing when he noticed an elderly man, Mike Dubois, clutch his heart and fall to the ground. Palacio rushed to Dubois' aid and immediately started performing CPR. He continued until paramedics came and rushed Dubois to the emergency room, where it was found he had a blockage to his heart. Palacio saved a complete stranger's life, just like a superhero would have. Water is vital for any animal's survival. This includes humans, mammals, and reptiles. So when one cobra came into the city looking for something to drink, what do you think the locals did? In the city of Karwar, India, there was a severe drought that lasted more than a month and forced some animals closer to the city looking for water. This king cobra is a deadly animal, yet the locals understood why it'd come to their town. They called zoologists that took it out of the city and realized it was on the verge of dying if it didn't get water. What they did next isn't for the faint of heart. They got up close and let the snake drink from a water bottle in their hand. The snake drank gratefully, and now we have this wholesome image that really shows that some people really are good. Bodybuilder Jason Moss didn't know his day would take a turn while he was leaving the gym. 911 had already been called for a woman who'd driven her SUV into a nearby river, but with the car sinking quickly, emergency services wouldn't get there in time. This is where Jason's instincts took over. He heard the cries from the woman and he sprung into action. He ripped off his shirt and dived into the river. He managed to get the car door open before it was completely submerged and carried the woman to shore. Jason is called the new Superman after his selfless actions that saved that woman's life. Elizabeth Paige saw her friend one Sunday and had fun catching up with him. When it came time to leave, she had no idea how her bravery would be tested on the way home. She was driving home when she saw something horrific, a car burning on the side of the road. Trevor Kendall was still stuck inside the burning car and calling for help. Paige couldn't wait for emergency services and had to risk her life to save Kendall's. She opened the passenger door and pulled the man by his legs to the grass by the curb. Kendall was taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries and made a full recovery. He still thanks his lucky stars that Paige was so brave that day. Anna Bogenholm didn't know how much of a turn her life would take the day when she decided to go skiing near Narvik in Norway. The 29-year-old trainee surgeon was skiing when she fell into a frozen lake and got trapped underneath the ice. Rescuers managed to airlift Bogenholm after 40 minutes of being underwater. Her body temperature had dropped drastically as her organs shut down, and her pupils stopped responding to light. She was put on a ventilator and warmed up and started responding to treatment. After 5 months of hospitalization, she made a full recovery and went back to skiing. Her rescuers never gave up, even when she seemed too far gone, and saved her life. California convenience store owners have been having problems with hungry visitors coming into their stores and not paying for the food they eat. But one man had had enough and decided to take matters into his own hands. He was confronted by yet another bear coming into the store, the second one this week. The first one had eaten half a shelf of candy and he wouldn't abide by that this time. The store clerk rushed to the door to get the bear to leave. He showed bravery and protected the other customer in the store by outstretching his arms. He saved both the items on the shelves from the dangerous animal and the people there too. Well done. It was like any other day for Lori Biswenger. She was walking on her golf course inspecting the trees. She lived near the golf course she owned with her husband and her dog Hope. She promised she'd never let anything happen to her wonderful companion, so when she heard her canine yelping nearby, she immediately started sprinting to where the sounds came from. To her horror, she saw her dog being taken by an alligator. Without thinking, she went up behind the gator and grabbed his tail, while a volunteer who also heard the dog's cries hit the reptile with a shovel. The gator fled into the water, and Hope was okay after some stitches. Biswenger said she didn't know what she was doing taking on an alligator, but she had to protect her dog.